Our top story today, the Gateway Pundit reports The View co-host Sunny Hostin reluctantly reads a legal note on air after smearing Matt Gaetz as a sex trafficker. We're covering this story and so much more here on the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review. My name's Elijah Schaffer, and this is the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review, where we cover the top 5 stories of the last 24 hours. Our top story today from thegatewaypundit.com, The View co-host Sunny Hostin reluctantly reads a legal note on air after smearing Matt Gaetz as a sex trafficker. Check this out. This must have hurt. Sunny Hostin, the most deranged and radical co-host of ABC's The View, was forced to read a legal note out on air after smearing Matt Gaetz as a sex offender. On Tuesday's edition of the show, Hostin attempted to link Gaetz to suspicious allegations of sex trafficking initiated under Joe Biden's corrupt Department of Justice. How could you nominate someone with allegations of child trafficking across state lines and having sex with a 17-year-old, she said. My understanding, further on in the interview, they discussed the fact that once he found out she was 17, he stopped having sex with her. Hostin was then asked to read out a legal note clarifying the situation live on air. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims invented and saying in a statement to NBC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism, she said. Now we have the full clip where she reads it directly on air. Watch.
How could you nominate someone with allegations of child trafficking trafficking across state lines and having sex with a 17-year-old? My understanding, further on in the interview, they discussed the fact that once he finds out that she's 17, he stops having sex with her.
Sonny, you have a legal note.
I do have a legal note. Thank you, Whoopi. Matt Gaetz has long denied all allegations, calling the claims, quote, invented, and saying in a statement to ABC News that this false smear following a 3-year criminal investigation should be viewed with great skepticism. That DOJ investigation was closed with no charges being brought.
We'll be right back.
Well, that was a quick fix. Now, many point out that The View has a long history of smear tactics, trying to literally take out individuals who they see as political rivals. They tend to hide themselves as being some sort of an online talk show, but in reality, they're a far-left weaponized arm of the Democratic Party, and everybody seems to know that except for the people who run the show. Now, that being said, Dr. Gary Richter, named America's favorite veterinarian, has helped thousands of dogs overcome health issues that seemed impossible to resolve. And that has created an important video for all pet owners, revealing crucial information about dog health. If your dog has a dull coat, low energy, itchy skin, red ears, or bad breath, these could be early warning signs of serious health problems that worsen with age. Dr. Richter emphasizes that nutrition is key, and he explains how commercial dog food, pressure cooked at high temperatures, often loses essential nutrients and contains preservatives that could harm your pet's health. After years of research and even writing a best-selling book on the subject, Dr. Richter has developed a simple and effective method to improve your dog's well-being without changing their current food. His approach involves a daily 2-minute routine that can make a significant difference in your pet's health. You can learn his exact method and follow easy step-by-step instructions by watching his video at healthydog1.com/pundit. Visit the site or click the link in the description to get started and support your dog's health today. That's HEALTHYDOG1.com/PUNDIT. Check it out today. Now, in important news, we have breaking. It turns out that alleged hacker obtains transcripts of testimony in damaging Lawfare ethics report of Matt Gaetz. Christina Lila reports. A so-called, I'll zoom in here for the visually impaired, a so-called hacker obtained the transcript of testimony from the damaging Lawfare House Ethics Committee report of Matt Gaetz, according to the New York Times. The CBS News also reported an unknown and unauthorized third party obtained 24 depositions from witnesses related to the investigation to Matt Gaetz. And according to the Times, the hacker dubbed Atlem Beasley obtained a tranche of documents, including 24 exhibits and sworn statements from a woman who testified that she had sex with Matt Gaetz when she was 17 years old. Gaetz also denied the allegations, and the Justice Department declined to bring charges after investigating the matter. The House Ethics Committee was going to release a damaging report on Matt Gaetz last Friday, but because he resigned from Congress, the committee lost jurisdiction. However, the deep state has been selectively leaking parts of the report to the media, and now a hacker has obtained a trove of documents from the damaging report. Matt Gaetz resigned from Congress last Wednesday evening after President Trump announced his nomination for U.S. Attorney General. It is my great honor to announce that Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida is hereby nominated to be the Attorney General of the United States. Matt is deeply gifted and tenacious attorney trained at the William & Mary College of Law, who has distinguished himself in Congress through his focus on achieving desperately needed reform at the Department of Justice. The House Ethics Committee's years-long investigation into Matt Gaetz over allegations of sexual misconduct ended after the lawmaker resigned from Congress. The Gateway Pundit reported on the Ethics Committee's revival of the junk allegations against Gaetz, even after the Biden DOJ exonerated Gaetz of criminal wrongdoing and dropped the charges in February of 2023. The investigation was reopened in 2023 as Gaetz ramped up challenges to former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who was later ousted by Gaetz' motion to vacate the chair. Later, when Gaetz threatened to bring a motion to vacate against McCarthy in October of 2023, McCarthy's Rhino allies began threatening to expel Gaetz based on the committee's investigation. This investigation exists to do what the voters of my district won't. Remove me from office, said Gaetz in September. My final response to the Ethics Committee is below. This story remains developing. Now, it's remarkable that, of course, these allegations and the reports only get linked when Matt Gaetz comes out and says, I'm going to be the Attorney General. Or I should say when Trump says that Matt Gaetz will be the Attorney General. So you're telling me that people haven't cared about this stuff for years. It was proven to be false allegations. Like most allegations, we see time and time again, and yet we're supposed to come to the conclusion that people care suddenly because he's nominated for Attorney General. I just don't give a damn. That being said, woke leftists lose their mind after Nancy Mace introduces proposal banning men from using women's restrooms on Capitol Hill. Mace then delivers a savage response. Colin Linebarger reports, the radical woke left is up in arms after a brave congresswoman took a bold stand on safeguarding the privacy of her colleagues and advocating for science. Representative Nancy Mace on Monday introduced a resolution that would bar biological males from using women's bathrooms and other female-only facilities on Capitol Hill. As the Hill reports, this move came just under 2 weeks after Representative-elect Sarah McBride became the first trans person ever elected to Congress. The outlet notes that the House Sergeant-at-Arms William McFarland will be in charge with enforcing a ban. Mace said that her reason for introducing the resolution was simple. Biological men do not belong in women's restrooms, and it's an invasion of privacy. One reporter actually came out and got mad at her, saying that she was being sexist and discriminating directly against people who are transgender. Now, one of the best things is she actually came out and talked to the guy who confronted her. Watch.
Here she goes. Here's Congresswoman Mace. Congresswoman Mace, can I ask you a question as you walk here? So the question is, with your piece of legislation about banning women from using...
100% yes.
My question to you is...
It doesn't go far enough. I'll be filing more bills.
You have said that it was created in response to Congresswoman-elect McBride.
100%. And
but should legislation be created targeted at one specific person?
It doesn't mention anyone in the legislation, but
you've said it was aimed at her.
No, I have said it's a result of this. I'm not going to allow biological men into women's private spaces. I will stand in the brink and stand in the way of anyone on the radical left who thinks that it's okay for a penis to be in a women's locker room or a bathroom or a changing room. Hell no. I'm not going to stand for it. And the Speaker said it would be in the House rules package. If it's not, I'll be ready with a motion, a privileged motion to force a vote on this. This is not okay. I'm a survivor of rape. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. And I'm not going to allow any man in any female private spaces.
Now, Speaker.
End of story. And by the way, I'm getting death threats from men pretending to be women. Why is it that these crazy people, the insanity, the radical left, are willing to kill women over a man's right to be in a women's restroom?
Speaker Johnson has said he wants to treat every new member with the words dignity and respect. Forcing this congressperson to go into a male restroom, is that dignity and respect?
Forcing women to share private spaces with men is not dignity and not respect. And I'm absolutely going to stand in the way of anyone who thinks it's okay for a man to be in our locker room, in our changing rooms, in our dressing rooms, in women's bathrooms. And in fact, if you agree with that, you're crazy, because that's not okay. It's not okay.
Congresswoman,
Thank you, Congressman. We're going to peel away from this conversation, Kira. So a little bit of the context of what we were just talking about, and I'm going to have my cameraman step out of the active driveway here, was that Nancy Mace put forward this piece of legislation. It was aimed, she said, although the name is not in the legislation, at a new member of Congress, Sarah McBride of Delaware, who is a transgender woman. She has said that the legislation would prevent women from using male restrooms and vice versa in the United States Capitol. Speaker Johnson has said, he made a statement earlier today where he said he believes, a quote, man is a man and woman is a woman, but he also called for, as you heard me ask the congressman about, dignity and respect for new members of Congress, and that would include this new member of Congress, Sarah McBride
And just trying to look back at Trump's ads as he was running for president, I mean, he's probably going to be right along with Nancy Mace if she pushes for this. She won't get any pushback from the president-elect, right?
It's very much unclear. We know that President-elect Trump made targeting Kamala Harris's position on transgender issues a key point of his campaign. And we also know that he's given Speaker Mike Johnson, the president-elect has, rope to essentially run the House of Representatives how he sees fit. So it's really up to Mike Johnson at this hour, and it's really hard to parse what Mike Johnson wants to do.
Listen, one of the main reasons why swing voters moved in the direction of supporting Trump was because of their position on not allowing men and women to invade each other's spaces. Look, women invaded a lot of men's spaces, and I think it's kind of cringe that the Republican Party suddenly cares when men are in women's spaces. But we do need to understand that this lack of gender divide that has plagued our nation in this post-feminist, postmodern hellhole of a liberal society, that there's about time that we just start being entrenching ourselves with our heels in the ground and say, look, we're not gonna go along with this nonsense anymore. We've got to get militant, at least ideologically, at the very minimum, in order to fight back against these people who want to plague our bathrooms, our lives, they just want to be in our faces. Now, these people that are transgender are unhinged. I don't even believe in the idea that there are conservative transgenders. Like, if you're living out a transgender ideology, you're literally insane. I mean, you might care about low taxes, you might, believe in some of the same values and believe in freedom of speech, but you're mentally ill. And that's not a controversial thing to say. You need help, not rights. You need health care. You need access not to the ballot box. You need access to an asylum. And I don't care. That's not the official position of the Gateway Pundit. That's just my own personal position as a pundit. But it's like, can we at least get back to the day when we were fighting, for democratic principles and neoliberalism, at least like 10, 20 years ago, and away from whatever this progression is, because we need to take a step back and acknowledge that we've completely lost the point of why we do what we do. That being said, listen, have you ever wondered what happened to the legendary Chuck Norris? Now, I recently saw a video that he made, and I was shocked. He's in his 80s and still kicking butt and working out and staying active. What's even more shocking is he's stronger, can work out longer, and even has plenty of energy left over for his grandkids. He did this by just making one change. He says that he still feels like he's in his 50s, and his wife even started doing this one thing too, and she's never felt better. She says that she feels 10 years younger, her body looks leaner, and she has energy all day. Now, Chuck made a special video that explains everything. Make sure that you watch it by going to chuckdefense.com/pundit. That's CHUCKDEFENSE.com/PUNDIT, or by clicking the link below in this video. It'll change the way that you think about your health. Once again, that's chuckdefense.com/pundit, and click on the link in the description in the video below. You won't believe how simple it is. Watch this method by clicking the link at CHUCKDEFENSE.com/PUNDIT. Check it out at chuckdefense.com/pundit today. Now, that being said, in interesting news, Florida, Alabama, and Georgia will suffer the consequences. DeSantis slams GOP no-shows after Senate confirms Biden's 11th Circuit judge pick. Check this out. The U.S. Senate confirmed Embry Kidd to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit on Monday with a razor-thin 49-45 vote. Kidd, a federal magistrate judge with a controversial record, now holds a lifetime appointment to the appeals court overseeing Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. Kidd's confirmation fills a seat vacated by Judge Charles Wilson, a Clinton appointee who took the senior status. Now, his confirmation follows the controversial approval of Nancy Abudu, a former Southern Poverty Law Center attorney, in 2023. The timing could not have been more critical, as four other federal appellate nominees, Julia Lopez for the First Circuit, Adil Meningi for the Third Circuit, Ryan Park for the Fourth, and Carla Campbell for the Sixth Circuit, are awaiting Senate confirmation of what could be the final days of Biden's presidency with a Democrat-led Senate, according to Law.com. Now, Republican senators face criticism for failing to prevent this appointment, with several notable absences during the vote. Mike Braun, Steve Daines, Bill Hawtrey, Marco Rubio, and J.D. Vance. Now, West Virginia Democrat Joe Manchin of West Virginia broke ranks to vote against Kidd, and John Fetterman did not show up. The GOP no-shows handed Biden yet another judiciary victory. Conservative commentator Matt Whitlock sharply criticized the Republican absences, stating this nominee has written that laws against child rape are racist. He had 2 previous decisions where he has given lenient sentences to child predators from the Senate. Now he has lifetime judgeship, replacing a potential Trump nominee because Republicans didn't bother to show up. Now that's crazy. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis took to X to express his disappointment. This leftist judge would have been voted down, and the seat changed as the important 11th Circuit would have been filled by Donald Trump next year had Republicans showed up. Now the leftist judge will have a lifetime appointment, and the people of Florida, Alabama, and Georgia will suffer the consequences. The leftist judge would have been voted down if they would have been there. Ron DeSantis should nominate a senator who will show up for Republicans. Recall that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is preparing for another pivotal decision following President-elect Donald Trump's nomination of Senator Marco Rubio for Secretary of State. DeSantis confirmed Monday that he has received strong interest from several candidates vying to replace Rubio in the Senate. Rubio is expected to resign from his Senate seat to assume his new role when the Trump administration takes power on January 20th, creating a critical vacancy. Now, it seems that Florida, where I'm currently reporting from, is already in serious issues. We also just lost Matt Gaetz, who's now going to be the Attorney General. So we'll see what happens. Our last story from the GatewayPundit.com. Jaguar car butchers its iconic reputation with disgusting woke rebrand. Elon Musk issues the perfect response. Check this out. Jaguar Cars has become the latest company to go all in woke. The British car manufacturer released an ad in which a handful of ethnically diverse and seemingly gender-fluid groups of individuals pranced around wearing bizarre pieces of clothing. Create exuberant, live vivid, delete ordinary, break molds, copy nothing, Jaguar. But it's funny they did an ad with a bunch of gay and black people, which is like exactly what every kind of ad and woke nonsense is today. No cars are shown at any point in the advert, although it appears that it'll be announced at a later date. Now, people are saying that, this is obviously a sign that everything's going to be fine, but I think this is just absolute nonsense. That being said, it is a PR stunt. We are talking about it on air, and so I'm sure they were just trying to get talk around their brand. It is ironic because I was actually looking into Jaguars for a replacement car for my wife, who's one of the brands that I was checking out, and I won't be checking them out anymore. I'm essentially gone on that one. It's not about cancel culture. It's just, why would I want to look at this? Because it's pretty much, they look disgusting now. I mean, you don't want to be with people that are like promoting this weird trans gay stuff. Anyway, if you like stories like this, don't forget to leave a like down below. My name's Elijah Schaffer. Thank you so much again for watching the Gateway Pundits Week in Review. If you want to support us more directly, you can grab a mug at our mug club on the gatewaypundit.com. They are etched nicely. They have, they're not just like printed on is the big thing. They're nice and weighty. It has the etchings. It's like 3D, right? You can feel it. This is a high quality weighty mug for those that actually use their mugs in the morning. My wife's Australian, so she drinks her tea. I drink a cup of coffee nearly every morning, 3 or 4 days a week. So I find it to be vital to have a nice mug in my hand. That's why I like my Gateway Pundit mug. Pick yours up at thegatewaypundit.com. Have a great rest of the week as always, and may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.